Hello guys, here you see a different background. I just wanted to give you a quick update on where I've been this week. And I've been invited here in Côte d'Ivoire, in Abidjan, at the Salon International d'Exposition des Ressources Extractives et Énergétiques. It's a gathering where, the first edition of a gathering that the Côte d'Ivoire government has organized, where they're gathering mining executive, oil industry, and energy industry to talk about how they can work together into creating synergies for development in Africa and all different part of the world, in different part of Africa. They've invited officials, ministers of around Africa. We have a good attendance of different ministers here. And I'm here because I was invited to give a presentation and to sit on a panel with different experts to talk about critical minerals in Africa. And my subject was more related to the geopolitics of critical minerals here in the continent, talking about China's influence and the US and Europe influence, how they're working together, how they're working against each other, what's the measure they're taking, and what are the impacts they do have on Africa, and how Africa should be able to navigate all those geopolitical tension that's happening in those critical minerals era. I gave a speech. We had a very good moment where we talked about China's influence, how we deal with China, how to approach China, how to look into China's its influence on the continent, how to look and to deal with different stakeholders, the US and Europe, how they're working and how they're fighting, who's making the most credible promises to Africa, who's much more suited or better to help Africa to unlock its potential with its critical minerals to reach a different level of its economic development. So I just wanted you to give a quick update, just like the one I gave you a few months back when I was in Washington, D.C. It was really interesting to be part of this conversation and to have those talks and to hear officials talk, to have exchanges with the public, and to see also how you have different actors, how they perceive China in Africa, to see how Africans leaders are really skeptical about recommendation coming from Western countries about how they should be dealing with China. It was really interesting to listen, and how the audience also is reacting to all of that. And also had the time to visit some stand here in Côte d'Ivoire during the exposition. It was really interesting to see some Chinese company. I saw some Chinese EV here in Abidjan, Dongfang, an electrical car here based in Abidjan. It was really interesting. I took some picture. You're gonna see some picture here. I'm gonna post them. It's like 400 kilometers autonomy, and it only charges for 6 hours, and it's well appreciated here. It's well sold here as well, and the price was around $56,000, and it was really well, and people really liked it. And also some Chinese mining companies here exposing the product and the equipment here in Abidjan. So it was really interesting to be here, and I'm looking forward for the next event if I'm invited to also be here again. So, but it's really part of this outreach that we do to try to be present where all those discussions are taking place, to really being part of the discussion and to really bring those nuances that are required, that's not always present in the conversation around China in the global south and China in Africa in general. So I'm gonna see you next week for another video. I'm gonna be elsewhere, but I'm gonna give you also another updates. But I'm gonna see you next week. We did a podcast. We recorded a podcast where we talked about everything that happened here in Abidjan. If you want to know more, just listen to the podcast and you'll know more. So see you next time for another quick update of what's happening in the China Global South. Bye bye.